Hey, Mike here. I just wanted to let you know that you can listen to Dark Poutine early and ad-free on Amazon Music, included with Prime.
This episode is brought to you by Mug Root Beer. It's 3 p.m. on a Thursday. Too late for a coffee, too early for a beer. So you walk around aimlessly in search of a mysterious third beverage. That's when you hear it. The sound of the dog. The sound of Mug Root Beer. So, drink Mug Root Beer if you got that dog in you.
Is it time to change your approach and switch to Air Supra, albuterol budesonide? Now you can virtually connect with a doctor to discuss your options and see if it's time to make a change. If appropriate, you may even be able to get a prescription for Air Supra the same day. Talk to a doctor today and see if Air Supra is right for you. Visit airsupraconnect.com to connect with a provider.
Welcome back to Dark Poutine. I am Mike Brown.
And this is Matthew.
Hello, Matthew.
Hello, Michael. Long time no see.
Long time no see. We had some fun last night.
We did. We went to a nightclub and saw a drag show and had fun.
Yeah, that was really a good time. I'm glad we did it.
Yes, but I do feel old.
Yeah, even though we don't drink or anything like that, it's still like, oi, 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 the next morning.
The views, information, and opinions expressed during the Dark Poutine podcast are solely those of the producer and do not necessarily represent those of Curious Cast, its affiliate, Global News, nor their parent company, Chorus Entertainment.
Dark Poutine is not for the faint of heart or squeamish. Listener discretion is strongly advised. We're not experts on the topics we present, nor are we journalists. We're two ordinary Canadian schmucks chatting about crime and the dark side of history. Let's get to it. Put on your toque, grab yourself a double-double and a Nanaimo bar. It's time to scarf down some Dark Poutine.
You are responsible for obtaining and maintaining at your own cost all equipment needed to listen to Dark Poutine. Dark Poutine can be addictive. Side effects may include, but not be limited to, pausing and questioning the system, elevated heart rate, pondering humanity, odd looks from colleagues as you laugh out loud at work, family members not into true crime worrying about you. Positive side effects may include some perspectives and opinions that you disagree with, as well as some wokeness and empathy. If you don't think Dark Poutine is for you, consult your doctor immediately.
In this episode, we explore a horrific case that shocked both Hollywood and Canada, the brutal murder of Iana Kasian by her fiancé, graphic novelist and filmmaker Blake Leibel. On May 26, 2016, the mutilated body of 30-year-old Iana Kasian was discovered in the West Hollywood apartment she shared with Leibel. What makes this case particularly chilling is not just the gruesome nature of the crime, but the background of the perpetrator himself. Blake Leibel, born into a wealthy Canadian family, had relocated to Los Angeles to pursue a career in the entertainment industry. As a graphic novelist and aspiring filmmaker, Leibel had contributed to a work titled Syndrome, which eerily foreshadowed the brutal manner in which he would later take Iana Kasian's life. The timing of this heinous act adds another layer of tragedy to the story. Iana, originally from Ukraine, had given birth to the couple's daughter just 3 weeks before her murder. What should have been a joyous time for the new parents instead became a nightmare that would leave a child without her mother and a family shattered. This is Dark Poutine, episode 330, Graphic Details. The Murder of Iana Kasian. Iana Kasian was born in Kyiv, Ukraine, on January 27, 1986. Her decision to leave Ukraine and pursue a modeling career in the United States was driven by a complex interplay of personal ambitions and a desire for new experiences. At 28, despite establishing herself as a prosecutor in Ukraine's tax service, Iana boldly chose to immigrate to the United States in 2014. This move was primarily motivated by her dream of becoming a model, a significant departure from her legal career. Her adventurous spirit and curiosity played crucial roles in this life-changing decision. Upon arriving in California, she quickly fell in love with Los Angeles, drawn to the allure of Hollywood and its vibrant lifestyle. This attraction to the entertainment industry further cemented her resolve to transition from law to modeling. She was a stunning beauty with a warm smile, long dark hair, and bright, friendly eyes. Iana's willingness to leave behind a stable career in her home country for the uncertainties of a new profession in a foreign land speaks volumes about her ambition and readiness to take risks for personal and professional growth. Notably, while pursuing her modeling aspirations, Kasian brought a strong educational background and professional experience, having studied law and worked in a prestigious position in Ukraine. The combination of ambition, adventurousness, and solid credentials underpinned her motivation to embark on this new chapter of her life in the United States. While Iana Kasian, the victim in this case, worked hard for everything she got, her killer and partner at the time of her death, Blake Leibel, had an easier time of it, financially, at least. Blake's father, Lorne Leibel, is a prominent figure in Canadian real estate and has made significant contributions through his company, Canada Homes. Known for his focus on building low-cost, high-volume housing, Leibel has played a crucial role in shaping the residential development landscape in Canada. His company has completed over 30,000 projects, underscoring the scale and impact of his work. Lorne Leibel's early success in the industry is notable. He became a millionaire at 30 and established Canada Homes 3 years prior. Some of his most impactful projects occurred early in his career. Lorne is also well known for his accomplishments in sailing. Notable achievements and significant participation in competitive events mark his sailing career. Born on January 14, 1951, Lorne Leibel represented Canada in the Tempest event at the 1976 Summer Olympics in Montreal, showcasing his skills on an international stage. Despite his success, he became the first Canadian to fail an Olympic drug test that year due to the presence of phenylpropanolamine, a banned stimulant commonly found in cold medications at the time.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Sure.
If you think of something like soccer, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where it's sort of for the masses, kids can kick around a ball in a dirt patch anywhere. Are this people that are in sailing and win big sailing trophies and stuff, are they really get that good or are they just rich? So for example, if other people can have access to these expensive boats or, like, are we losing out on like superstar sailors because it's just a rich guy's sport?
No, I don't think so. There are boats used in sailing competitions that aren't super expensive. So, any Olympic sport is really quite expensive to get into.
But if you're training on those big catamarans, you have to have some money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
you do. But I don't think we're missing out on sailing. Superstars, I think the people who want to be involved are.
Okay.
I don't think the barrier to entry is probably, it is money, but there's also that desire to do it. I mean,
let's face it, sort of the world's best polo players, probably none of them came, from the hood.
No, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, there you go.
The family's Olympic connection extends to other family members as well. Blake's aunt, Canadian journalist Terry Leibel, anchored CBC's coverage of the Olympic Games in 1996, 2002, 2004, and 2006. Blake's paternal grandfather, Stanley Leibel, born on March 21, 1927, is also a retired Canadian sailor who competed in the 1968 Summer Olympics. After Canadian Olympian sailor David Howard's passing at 104 on January 21, 2023, Stanley Leibel, at 95 years old, became the oldest living Canadian Summer Olympian. In addition to his Olympic participation, Lorne Leibel has been recognized for his contributions to motorsport. He was inducted into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame in 2006, highlighting his diverse interests and accomplishments beyond sailing. Leibel's involvement in powerboat racing further exemplifies his passion for competitive sports. He began his boat racing career in 1975. He achieved considerable success, winning awards such as the Rookie of the Year from the American Powerboat Association and the Canadian Yachtsman of the Year. His victories include the U.S. National Championship 1993 and the Superboat World Champion 2001. Before retiring, he set an official APBA World Speed Record in 2003. Blake Leibel's mother, Eleanor, came from money too. Her father, Paul Chattel, founded Polytarp Products Limited, a plastic sheeting company, in 1957, which he grew into a multi-million-dollar business. Eleanor's father was known for his controlling and erratic behavior in business, and her mother, Iana Kasian, had a complicated legal history exacerbated by severe mental illness, including acute bipolar disorder, during the 1980s. Eleanor and Lorne were married in the 1970s, and Blake's older brother Cody was born in Toronto on Canada Day, July 1, 1979. Blake was born on May 8, 1981. Despite all the money and other successes, the marriage between Lorne and Eleanor was rocky, and eventually the couple split up. The boys, who'd been close to that point, were split up. Cody went to live with his dad, and Blake stayed with his mom. Blake resented Cody's closeness with his dad. Cody followed in his father's sporty footsteps, taking up hockey and race car driving with some minor success. In 1998, at 75, Blake's grandfather, Paul Chattel, passed away. He and Iana had been separated for several years at the time of his death. Paul exerted his controlling and bullying behavior from beyond the grave, stipulating that all his named heirs take tests for drugs and alcohol, as well as submit to HIV testing. Eleanor received a substantial sum from her father's estate, including income from his plastics business, which is still operating. A large trust fund was set up for both Cody and Blake, giving them a large monthly income. It was reported that Blake was receiving $18,000 US per month. It is safe to assume that Cody was set up similarly.
You know, I don't think I'd ever do that for my kids.
Give them a big trust fund?
I think I'd give them a little bit of money, but not enough that they wouldn't have to go out and do their own thing.
Yeah. I mean, my mom and dad sort of felt similarly. I mean, we weren't rich by any stretch of the imagination, but they really wanted Rachel and I to make our own way, which I understand. Now, I kind of wished in the moment that it was a little different, but now I understand it.
Yeah, but there was no money to give in my family. It was you go out there and you graft all over. Like, there was absolutely no net.
Although Cody, like his dad, was interested in real estate development, he also wanted a career in the music business, so he moved to Los Angeles and put his inheritance to work. There were no lemons in Cody's life. He took his lemonade and made even more lemonade. He began buying properties, and as the world's youngest owner of a Ferrari Enzo, Cody not only ran a record label but was also a regular at Molly's Game, a poker club known for hosting celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and Tobey Maguire. Blake attended the University of Western Ontario but spent much of his time playing video games. His IMDb lists him as a world champion gamer, Half-Life 1998 to 2000, and claims he was the online multiplayer world champion for Half-Life Opposing Force. I may have played with him as I obsessively, for hours on end, played that game at the same time. Blake followed his brother to Los Angeles in 2004 and used his money to advance his career in the entertainment industry. Blake began developing graphic novels and comic book series and writing screenplays. In 2008, at New York Comic Con, Blake Leibel spoke with Gorilla Wire TV about his book series. United Free Worlds. The story is science fiction, combining barbaric action and epic warfare elements. The story unfolds in a universe where the United Free Worlds, UFW, face a formidable and seemingly insurmountable enemy. The narrative includes intense battles and strategic warfare reminiscent of the brutal combat seen in Conan and the large-scale conflicts of Halo. A key plot element involves a character named Senator, who dismantles the UFW army. As he does so, he recalls his battles in a deadly coliseum where he defeated 12 of the universe's most fearsome creatures. The series explores themes of survival, heroism, and the struggle against overwhelming odds. In the interview, Leibel briefly describes the series, quote, "The storyline is about when a new planet enters our solar system, the Earth unites, and we put down our weapons, and we find a new enemy that's about 12 to 18 feet, and they ride and control dinosaurs like dogs. And when we go to war, they absolutely annihilate us the first time. To give you a small example, 50 pterodactyls connected to a big net open up and swallow in about 400 helicopters, carry them into the sky, and then cut that net like it was nothing, and let that bag of helicopters fall to the ground. Now imagine for a moment being inside of that bag of helicopters." End quote. Blake did have some success. In 2007, he directed 3 episodes of an animated series based on Mel Brooks' hit film Spaceballs for the G4 network. In 2009, he directed a comedic feature film, Bald, which flopped epically. The IMDb summary of the film reads like a film I'm not interested in seeing. Horny college student Andrew is afraid his receding hairline will cut back on his sex life. To help his buddy get a hair transplant, Andrew's roommate Max starts a sexy, bare-all website featuring the most attractive girls in school. The IMDb rating is 2.6 stars out of 10, and the RottenTomatoes.com audience score mirrors that at 25%.
That's what I figured this guy's level of talent would be. It seems to me, I've met so many people like this, Mike, who are like buying themselves into the creative arts.
Right.
I'm rich and bored, so I'm going to be creative, and essentially, buy the leads, buy the opportunities, and have no talent whatsoever.
Well, I was poor and bored, so that's why I got into. No, I don't know. Whatever. I do creative stuff because it's what I like. The most significant work, especially when discussing Iana Kasian's murder, is Blake Leibel's 2010 graphic novel, Syndrome. Blake described the novel this way: Syndrome is a story about obsession on a number of levels, as experienced by 4 characters who all come from different worlds and yet find themselves embroiled in this giant, impeccably simulated environment. It's the ultimate backstage story in that sense. The graphic novel delves into the dark and complex nature of human evil through the lens of a groundbreaking scientific experiment. The story centers on Dr. Wolf Chittel, whose surname is the same as Blake Leibel's mother. In the book, Chittel is a neuropathologist claiming to have isolated evil's root within the human brain. Driven by his discovery, Dr. Chittel embarks on a bold and ethically questionable experiment in the Nevada desert, aiming to test his theory and potentially transform humanity. To execute his plan, Dr. Chittel assembles a diverse and troubled team. This includes a naive Hollywood actress whose strong improvisational skills make her the perfect bait, and a tormented motion picture director grappling with his demons. The experiment's setting is an isolated movie set designed to create a controlled environment for the test. The central subject of this experiment is a condemned serial killer chosen to test the efficacy of Dr. Chittel's supposed chemical cure for evil. As the story unfolds, readers are taken through a non-linear narrative that shifts perspectives among the various characters, adding depth and complexity to the plot. The actress, unaware of the full extent of the experiment, plays a crucial role in interacting with the killer. At the same time, the director documents the process, adding a layer of cinematic tension to the narrative. The graphic novel does not shy away from depicting graphic and gory scenes, including illustrations of headless female bodies and people hung upside down and drained of blood. These shocking images underscore the novel's exploration of the nature of evil and the lengths Dr. Chittell will go to prove his theory. Throughout Syndrome, themes of morality, the compulsion behind horrific acts, and the possibility of curing evil through neurological means are thoroughly examined. The novel's premise and setup are intriguing, drawing readers into a world where scientific ambition clashes with ethical boundaries. However, some reviewers have noted that the ending feels unsatisfactory, with the story not fully developed before its conclusion. Blake Leibel is credited as the creator of the book. However, other writers and artists did the actual writing and illustration work, contributing to the novel's unique and multifaceted storytelling approach. Regardless, Blake Leibel was responsible for the book's creative direction.
Yeah, again, buying the name creator.
Well, I mean, after what he does and how it's kind of linked to this work.
I just don't like this spoiled posh kid.
Leibel also completed a screenplay for a film, Psychopomp, which he sold to producer Hilary Shore, the producer of Children of Men. The film was never made. In 2013, although he'd already directed a film and had written and been involved in several other projects, Blake went to work as an unpaid intern for Australian comedian Jim Jeffries on his show Legit. Blake was a gopher on the show, getting coffee for the show's writers. Jim Jeffries later shared his memories and feelings about Blake Leibel with the investigation discovery series, Death by Fame, which covered Iana's murder in Season 2 of the show, released in 2024. Jim Jeffries said in part, Blake had told us that he was very interested in writing and comedy, and that he didn't care what it took. My first impression of Blake was that he was pretty sort of childlike. He was full of wonder about the whole idea of the thing. He didn't seem like your regular intern. He was a lot older to be getting into the business, and it was weird because he was the richest intern anyone's ever seen. He had a brand new Porsche, and they make a hell of a noise, that car. He drove up. I looked at him, and I said, Blake, when did you get that car? And he goes, I had a really good stock tip. That's what he said, I had a really good stock tip. And he goes, every day, I just sit out in the backyard for 1 hour a day and smoke a joint and look at my stocks and make sure they're all in order. And that's all I have to do to keep this money. And he sped away. I was like, this guy must be a wizard with finances, 'cause I can't do that with money. Jim Jeffries had no idea until later that Blake was lying about where he got his money.
Yeah, and we see this so many times with nepo babies like this, trying to create this idea that they've been successful on their own when he's just getting his money from mommy and daddy.
Exactly, like it's all... This whole thing is about this guy's ego. This whole entire story is about Blake Leibel's ego and his problems.
Yep.
This entire thing is about his bullshit.
I really don't like him.
No, I don't either. Also in 2013, Blake directed a short film called Soulmates. The film follows a Canadian girl who, after a one-night stand, proposes marriage to an American boy so she can get her visa and stay in the country. With 9 reviews, the short has a 5.8-star rating on IMDb. Blake Leibel and his first wife, Amanda Braun's relationship is a tragic tale marked by initial promise and subsequent turmoil. The couple met around 2006 in the affluent social circles of Los Angeles. Amanda Braun, a former model from San Luis Obispo, California, was known for her vibrant personality and was described by friends as a party girl with a good heart. Before meeting Blake, she had dated Andrew Altchek, a hedge fund manager who was later convicted of running a Ponzi scheme and killed in prison in 2010. Seeking stability, Braun found Blake, who appeared shy and stable, to be a comforting presence in her life. Blake and Amanda's relationship quickly progressed, and they spent significant time together at exclusive venues like Soho House and Chateau Marmont. Their relationship seemed strong despite their differing social habits. Amanda was more outgoing, and Blake preferred to stay home. They married in March 2011, just a month before Amanda gave birth to their first son. Blake bragged to anyone who would listen that he was married to a model. However, their marriage faced significant challenges. Blake's mother, Eleanor, was diagnosed with brain cancer and passed away in 2011, a loss that profoundly affected him. He inherited a significant amount of his mother's estate. Friends noted that Blake began to exhibit erratic behavior, including explosive anger and verbal abuse, although it did not become physically violent. These emotional struggles coincided with growing tensions at home. By the early summer of 2015, Blake's behavior became increasingly unstable. He abruptly left Amanda, who was 8.5 months pregnant with their second child, and filed for divorce. This sudden departure shocked Amanda and their close friends, as Blake had previously shown love and commitment to his family. Within weeks, Blake moved into a new apartment in West Hollywood and began his fateful relationship with Iana Kasian, who was soon pregnant with his child. Amanda discovered the affair when she saw Blake and Iana together in public. Amanda struggled to understand Blake's sudden departure and erratic behavior. Despite his previous affection for his family, Blake discarded his old life abruptly, leaving Amanda to cope with his departure's emotional and practical fallout. Over the next year, Blake Leibel's mood and behavior became darker. He was jealous and controlling. Regardless, Blake Leibel and Iana Kasian became engaged. More after a quick break.
Can't get enough true crime? Do you have what it takes to be a detective? Listen to Cold Tapes, the hit murder mystery podcast where you must solve the case. A British scientist is found dead on a remote Antarctic research station. Listen to police interviews, secret recordings, and the victim's explosive audio diaries, and see if you can piece together the clues to crack the case and stake your claim on a £10,000 cash reward. Search Cold Tapes wherever you get your podcasts, or visit coldtapes.com to subscribe today. T's and C's apply.
Restore your vehicle's engine to run like new with Valvoline Restore and Protect, now available at Advance Auto Parts. It's the first motor oil ever to remove up to 100% of engine-killing deposits. That's right, 100%. Stop by your local Advance Auto Parts store today and get 5 quarts of Valvoline Restore and Protect Premium Full Synthetic Motor Oil for only $33.99. Up to 100% piston deposit removal when used as directed for 4 or more consecutive oil changes at standard maintenance intervals, based on adapted sequence 3H testing.
Hi, and welcome to IKEA. How can I help?
Oh, my schedule is crazy. I just want some me time.
Maybe it's time to embrace the joy of staying in. With comfortable beds, pillow and decor, mood lighting, and so much more, you can turn your bedroom into the place to be.
Oh, sounds like a dream.
We've got you. Visit us in-store or at IKEA-USA.com/sleep to create your dream bedroom today.
And we are back. Matthew, thoughts?
I'm just going to go on with my dislike. Like I've been on the periphery of like extraordinarily wealthy circles in my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned to spot people like this guy so easily.
Yeah.
Right? Like, of all the money people that I'm not anti-moneyed people, but the ones that I know and have known that I like are the ones that actually made it themselves and that actually do good with it. Right, and are honest, but I've met people like this Blake guy that's you just look at them and they're just hollow because everything was handed to them.
Yeah,
it's he's not a likable person at all.
No, he's not. He's
and I'm beginning to see maybe some mental health issues, but I'm not sure here. Like before, like we haven't gone through the rest of the show yet. But I just think I can't separate if there's a mental health issue here or he's just an idiot.
Maybe a bit of both.
Yeah.
I mean, the two things don't necessarily have to be exclusive.
True.
In the months leading to Iana's murder, Blake Leibel underwent a dramatic transformation in behavior that alarmed those around him. Once described by friends as quiet, good-natured, and pleasant, Leibel exhibited increasingly erratic and unstable conduct. His actions became particularly concerning when he abruptly abandoned his pregnant wife and their young child, a stark departure from his previous dedication to family life. Leibel, who had once spent most of his free time with the son he'd had with Amanda Braun, suddenly appeared disinterested in his family responsibilities. Perhaps most troubling was Leibel's growing tendency to isolate himself, cutting off contact with friends and withdrawing from his usual social circles. This series of behavioral changes, so drastically out of character for Leibel, ultimately preceded the horrific crime for which he was eventually arrested. In the spring of 2016, Iana's mother, Olga, a healthcare worker, flew from Ukraine to be present at the birth of the couple's first child. Olga rented an apartment near Kasian and Leibel's residence off Sunset Boulevard to be nearby when the baby came. Blake did not want Olga present at the birth, which caused a lot of tension between him and Iana. On the 3rd of May 2016, Kasian gave birth to a daughter, Diana. Blake immediately became jealous of the attention and time Iana dedicated to their newborn little girl. On May 20th, just after midnight, less than 3 weeks after his daughter's birth, Blake was arrested for sexual assault against an unnamed victim. He spent approximately 15 hours in custody before being released on $100,000 bail. When Iana heard about the arrest and what had allegedly happened, she was livid and terrified. She was done with Blake. Iana packed everything she needed for herself and the baby and moved into her mom's apartment. Over the next few days, Blake would not leave Iana alone. He said he could not live without her. He begged to work things out with her. On the afternoon of May 23, 2016, Iana Kasian said goodbye to her mom and Diana. Iana said she was going shopping for baby strollers. Unknown to Olga, Iana went to the apartment she'd shared with Blake to see if they could salvage the relationship with her daughter's father. When Iana didn't come home that night, Olga Kasian became extremely concerned. She called and texted Iana several times the next day, but never received an answer or a callback. Surveillance videos at the Holloway apartment complex and cell phone data showed that Iana Kasian arrived at 9:30 p.m. and did not leave the apartment alive after that. On May 25th, Olga repeatedly called her daughter without receiving any response. Around 1:44 p.m., Olga and a friend visited Kasian's apartment to check on her. Olga saw the car Kasian usually drove parked in the complex's garage. Upon arriving at the front of the complex, she noticed that the sliding glass door on the balcony was open. She called out, "Blake, open the door for me." She then saw Blake's silhouette and hand as he closed the door. Olga called the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, prompting 2 deputies to spend 2 hours trying to rouse someone inside the apartment. The blinds on the balcony window were closed, preventing them from seeing inside. One deputy knocked and rang the doorbell several times without a response. They heard no movement or noises inside. After obtaining Blake Leibel's cell phone number from the property manager, both deputies left voicemails at 4:20 p.m. and 4:45 p.m., urgently requesting he call back. Blake didn't return the calls, and the deputies left, believing they had no justification to enter. Cell phone data and surveillance video revealed that on May 23rd, Blake left the apartment around 11:20 p.m., returned shortly after 5:09 a.m. the next morning, and stayed until May 25th at 11:45 p.m. His cell phone remained at the apartment until 1:35 p.m. on May 26th. On May 26th, Olga repeatedly tried to contact Iana between 1:45 a.m. and 11 a.m., In one text, sent just before 3 a.m., Olga wrote in Russian, "Iana, answer me," and, "Are you alive, my dear daughter? I called the police because he's holding you there. I came over there and knocked. Answer me." Later that morning, Olga returned to the apartment and called 911. Deputy Micah Johnson arrived, spoke to a neighbor, and left Blake a voicemail at 8:44 a.m., asking him to have Iana call her mother or the sheriff's station. After obtaining a key and determining probable cause circumstances existed, deputies forced entry. They found the apartment dark, with doors locked and barricaded by mattresses. In the guest bedroom, Deputy Moore observed blood on the headboard. At the locked master bedroom door, deputies announced their presence. Blake responded, saying he wouldn't come out for fear of being beaten by the police. He claimed Iana was fine and at Cedars-Sinai Hospital, giving a room number. He also said he'd called his father, referring to Stephen Green, his accountant, would arrive soon and he'd wait for him. Green arrived and told police had been unable to contact Blake for about a month prior. Green helped communicate with Blake Leibel. Detective Gregory Boani eventually convinced Blake to come out of the bedroom. He emerged wearing only white boxer shorts. Upon entering the bedroom, deputies discovered Iana Kasian's naked body. They called in paramedics, who pronounced her dead around 1:02 p.m. Iana's body was on a clean sheet, covered by a red Mickey Mouse blanket over a blue polka-dotted blanket. Her head was on a pillow, and her scalp had been removed. There was another pillow with an indentation next to her. Dried bloodstains were found on the mattress beneath the clean sheet. Leibel was immediately taken into custody. One neighbor described him as looking deranged, with bruised legs and a puffy face when he was escorted away in handcuffs. The investigation into Blake Leibel's apartment following the murder of Iana Kasian unveiled a horrific crime scene that shocked even seasoned investigators. Blood evidence was pervasive throughout the residence, with bloodstains discovered in multiple rooms, including the dining room, kitchen, hallway, guest bathroom, and both bedrooms. The extent of the bloodshed was further emphasized by the discovery of bloodstained bedding, towels, clothing, bath mats, and placemats meticulously packed into 11 discarded trash bags. A particularly damning piece of evidence was a bedsheet bearing a bloody handprint that matched Leibel's, providing a direct link between him and the crime.
Yeah, so okay, we're seeing that he's trying to clean up, and we know that he's sane enough if he's going to do the old "I was insane" plea.
Yeah,
he was saying he knew what he did was wrong. He's trying to clean stuff up. So there you go.
The crime scene revealed a gruesome and extensive array of evidence. Bloodstains and human flesh were discovered behind the bed, with additional bloodstains on the wall near where Kasian's head had been positioned. Investigators found a portion of an eyebrow on the floor near the bed, and bloodstains were present on multiple surfaces throughout the bedroom, including a second bed's mattress and a side table. The mattress used to block the master bedroom door, which belonged to a second bed in that room, also had bloodstains, including a large one. A trash can contained a clump of hair and a blood-stained razor. Upon entry, deputies found warm water in the master bathroom's bathtub. Bloodstains and hair were visible in the tub, and the tub and sink drains tested positive for blood. A blood-stained green paring knife, similar to the kitchen's, was found in a bathroom drawer. The guest bedroom's mattress, which had been used to block the hallway door, also had blood on it. Oval-shaped bloodstains on the guest bedroom's headboard were consistent with marks from the victim's scalped head. Blood was found on various items in the guest bedroom, and the guest bathroom's tub drain tested positive for blood and contained freshly cut hair. Chemical testing revealed attempts to clean blood in multiple areas of the apartment, including the dining room, hallway, guest bathroom, and both bedrooms. Even the kitchen garbage disposal tested positive for blood.
So, this is a gorier storytelling than we usually do in my comic show.
And that's why I called it graphic details.
Yeah, and it's really difficult to hear all of this, and I don't like it, but I think I think we have to understand what he did here.
Yeah.
Because it's the nature of the story and the horror that this poor woman went through and her family went through. So I don't think we're doing this frivolously here. We don't chase. We don't do the "if it bleeds, it leads" sort of thing. But like just going further into this, we'll understand why. Yeah.
Yeah. I had this story on my list for a very long time. But I didn't want to cover it because of how graphic it was.
And then you realized you actually have to talk. You have to tell that part of the story because that's what this story is about.
Yeah. In the building's dumpster, investigators discovered trash bags containing blood-stained bedding, towels, clothing, bath mats, and placemats. A bed skirt with bloody handprints was found, along with human tissue, including pieces that appeared to be her scalp and an ear. DNA testing confirmed Kasian's DNA on many items, including the tissue, ear, and bed skirt. Her DNA was also found in blood on the green knife, in various drains and on mattresses, and in bloodstains throughout the apartment. A diluted bloodstain in the master bedroom contained a mixture of DNA from both Blake Leibel and Kasian. Both of their DNA was found on the bloodstained guest room mattress used to barricade the hallway door. Samples from Blake's left hand and fingernails also contained Kasian's DNA, further linking him to the crime scene. Blake Leibel's consciousness of guilt was evident in several aspects of the crime scene. Multiple doors within the apartment had been barricaded with mattresses and other objects, seemingly in an attempt to hinder police access. His false statements about Iana's well-being and whereabouts further indicated his awareness of wrongdoing. Perhaps most tellingly, investigators found Leibel's passport and $4,000 in cash among clothing in the living room, suggesting he may have been planning to flee the country. According to the charging documents released by the LA District Attorney on May 31, 2016, Blake Leibel was charged in case SA 093029 and pleaded not guilty to 1 count each of murder, mayhem, aggravated mayhem, and torture. He also faces special circumstance allegations of the murder involving torture and mayhem, making him eligible for the death penalty. Many who knew Blake Leibel were stunned by the drastic change in his behavior and the horrific nature of the crime he was accused of. Friends and collaborators were left wondering what on earth went wrong with someone they had known as quiet and pleasant person. They would soon find out it was worse than they thought. At Blake's trial, Dr. Jonathan Lucas, chief medical examiner, testified that Kasian died from blood loss due to head trauma. Her entire scalp had been removed, along with skin from her face. The injuries inflicted with a bladed instrument and manual tearing would have taken substantial time and been extremely painful. Evidence suggested Kasian was alive during the injuries, including inflammation of injured tissue and hemorrhaging in removed body parts. Dr. Lucas noted unusual exsanguination, with more than half of Kasian's blood missing and none in her heart or major vessels. He theorized this could have been achieved by placing her in a bathtub with running water over her injuries. Signs indicated she had been submerged for at least 30 minutes. Defensive wounds, bruises, and bite marks were also observed. Dr. Michael Habib, an expert in human anatomy and fluid biomechanics, provided additional insights. He emphasized that scalping alone rarely leads to death, but Kasian's injuries were extensive and inflicted over time. His studies on cadavers showed it was impossible to achieve Kasian's level of exsanguination post-mortem. Dr. Habib concluded that Kasian was alive during the exsanguination process, which required significant time and effort. He suggested she was likely inverted in a bathtub with running water to accelerate blood loss. Evidence of lividity and clean blood in the hallway indicated her body was moved after death.
This is just horrifying. She was tortured to death.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like in his book, and we'll get into that. Prosecutors drew chilling parallels between Blake Leibel's crime and his graphic novel Syndrome during his trial. They highlighted that the murder of Iana Kasian bore striking similarities to scenes depicted in the book, which explores the mind of a serial killer. One of the most disturbing comparisons was the fact that Kasian's body had been drained of blood, a detail that mirrored the graphic novel's cover image of a scalped baby. The prosecution used this connection to suggest that Leibel might have been reenacting scenes from his work. Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman argued that Leibel's fascination with evil and psychopathy, as evidenced by his creative projects, culminated in the real-life horror he inflicted upon Kasian. The defense, however, contended that Leibel did not write or illustrate Syndrome alone, and that the prosecution was reaching for connections that were not there. Despite these arguments, the jury found Leibel guilty of first-degree murder, aggravated mayhem, and torture, convinced by the disturbing parallels between his fiction and the brutal reality of his crime.
You know, it's first of all, happy to hear that he got first-degree murder, but secondly, I think maybe what was in his head was, you know, maybe he's trying to go down as this like weird genius, right? And this will help his quote creative work, but he's just a rich kid dickhead. And there's no mystery about this animal at all.
No. The gruesome details of Iana's murder, including her torture and mutilation, led to strong public reactions. One headline referred to Leibel as a monster. Blake Leibel's defense focused on casting doubt on the prosecution's evidence and suggesting alternative explanations for the crime. His public defender, Haida Takasugi, attempted to undermine the prosecution's case by pointing out inconsistencies and introducing the possibility of another suspect. One significant argument made by the defense was the presence of DNA from an unknown second male found on the outsides of 3 of the 11 trash bags in Leibel's basement, which they suggested could indicate another person's involvement in the crime. Additionally, the defense questioned the reliability of the testimony presented by the prosecution of the blood expert. Blake Leibel was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole on June 26, 2018, for the brutal torture and murder of his fiancée, Iana Kasian. During the sentencing, Superior Court Judge Mark E. Wyndham emphasized the extreme nature of the crime, stating, "The case is unusual only in its savagery," and adding that the defendant had shown inconceivable cruelty. The judge cited Leibel's profound brutality as a factor in handing down the life sentence.
You deserved a life sentence, and I think life means life in the U.S. It's not like here where you'd get out in 3 months.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anybody gets a life sentence and then gets out in 3 months. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but
it is.
Yeah.
But I'm making a point.
I know,
right? You know my feelings about
I know.
Parole boards.
Everybody knows your feelings on that, Matthew, very strongly.
I wonder if any parole board people listen to the show. Please write in if you do.
Yeah, right.
I'd like to give you a piece of my mind.
Oh, no. Please don't.
Do it.
Olga Kasian delivered an emotional impact statement before the sentencing. Speaking through a Russian interpreter talking about her granddaughter, she said, "The life of this little angel began with the fact that her father massacred her mother." Olga described her life since her daughter's murder as a hell of endless suffering and posed the question, why, to God. She also addressed the tragic reality that the man who murdered her daughter is the father of her beloved granddaughter, stating, "There are no words to express the pain and despair in my heart. I never thought that one day my life would be broken." The sentencing marked the end of what The Hollywood Reporter described as one of the grimmest murder trials in recent memory. Throughout the proceedings, Leibel remained largely expressionless, uttering only one word during the sentencing hearing when he answered yes to the judge's question about waiving his appearance at an upcoming court date. Following Blake Leibel's conviction for the brutal murder of Iana Kasian, her family pursued a civil lawsuit against him. Olga Kasian, Iana's mother, filed the wrongful death suit on behalf of her daughter and granddaughter. The lawsuit sought to hold Leibel financially accountable for the horrific crime. In February 2019, Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge Bobby Tillman awarded the Kasian family $41.6 million in damages. This amount included $30 million in non-economic damages for the plaintiffs, $1.6 million specifically for Iana's daughter Diana, and $10 million in punitive damages for Iana's estate. The civil suit highlighted the gruesome nature of the crime, with detailed descriptions from the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office about the extent of Iana's injuries, which included her scalp being completely removed and her body being drained of blood. The family's attorney, Jake Finkel, emphasized the devastating impact of the murder, stating, "This murder didn't just kill one person, it really did kill the family. It shattered the family." The awarded damages were intended to provide some justice and support for Iana's daughter, who was last acknowledged to be in the care of her grandmother in Ukraine.
I bet for them it wasn't even about the money. You know, this guy's Mr. Splashy Cashy, like showing him up in a Porsche, a supercar in his internship. Like, it was all about money for him. So they're just hitting him where it hurts, right?
Right.
The only thing the guy was worth is the money he inherited.
There's been positive news about Blake's brother Cody since the horrific events that took Iana Kasian's life. In 2016, Cody Leibel purchased a massive Beverly Park home for $25.15 million. The Mediterranean-style villa spans nearly 11,600 square feet and includes 6 bedrooms and 7 bathrooms. On about 2 acres, the property features a wine vault, a master suite with a balcony, a 2,000-square-foot pavilion with a second kitchen and living room, and a tennis court. At 36, Leibel was reportedly the youngest homeowner in Beverly Park, joining residents like Sylvester Stallone, Mark Wahlberg, Denzel Washington, and Eddie Murphy. The home previously belonged to Matthew's favorite country singer, Reba McEntire.
Okay, I have 2 things to say about this.
Do you?
The first thing is, like, you said there's been positive news about Blake's brother. It's like positive news. A rich kid who inherited money buys a mega mansion amongst celebrities. Ooh, feel good story of the year, Mike. Positive news. And my next point is Reba bloody McEntire. I bet the neighbors were like, there goes the neighborhood when she moved in.
Apparently she's very nice, Matthew. You should give her...
Yeah, and I know, I play it up, people, so... it's my shtick. So if you're a Reba fan,
Matthew's Reba hate isn't necessarily a real thing.
My Reba hate is I just don't like her. I find her annoying, but the Reba hate's just a little bit of fun. So the people have written on going, yeah, you beat up on Reba McEntire. It's like, you know what? I'm allowed to beat up on celebrities. You don't know her. Shut up. Yeah. People beat up on me.
Yeah, well, we're not even celebrities, so yeah,
exactly.
People beat up on us.
The reality is I'd probably meet her and be like, oh my God, she's so nice.
Don't be a Jan.
Why did you have to end on Reba?
And that's it for Dark Poutine episode 330, Graphic Details, The Murder of Iana Kasian.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Make this new school year an opportunity for your kids to learn important life skills with Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families where kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely, while parents keep an eye on kids' money habits. Greenlight also helps families get into their fall routine with a chores feature that lets parents assign chores and pay kids allowance when they check them off. Get your first month free at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
That's right. It's time for voicemails. You can leave us a message at 1-877-327-5786 or 1-877-DARK-PTN. We'd love to hear from you. Let's see who called us this week. Here's our first voicemail.
Hi, Mike and Matthew. Calling to you from Langley, D.C. My name is Felicia. I first started listening to your podcast probably about 4 or 5 years ago when my friend and former colleague Jeff Porter introduced it to me. Just been a long-time listener, long-time fan. And I just finished listening to the Maple Battaglia story. That one kind of hits close to home. I didn't know her personally, but I actually went to SSU, and I'm about the same age as her, so I remember when news came out about her unfortunate murder. It was very surreal, kind of walking through the campus, probably the day or two after it had happened. Anyways, keep on doing what you're doing. And yeah, thanks so much. You make my drive from Langley to Vancouver a lot easier. Take care. Bye.
Well, thank you very much. And yeah, Jeff.
Instead of saying bye, Felicia. I want to say hi, Felicia.
Hi, Felicia. Yeah,
you know the bye, Felicia. I wonder if she got so sick of everyone going bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
You know
dear.
that, like it's sort of like a, it's like a dismissive send off. I think.
Yes, absolutely.
Iced tea or something started it. But.
What do you think Felicia does here in Langley, BC, Matthew?
Well, she drives.
Oh.
So I'm not sure if she like works in Langley, but she went to SFU. What is SFU? What's
Simon
SFU?
Fraser University.
I know what it is. What are they known for?
Pretty much everything.
Okay. Well, Felicia does pretty much everything.
Oh,
She's a Renaissance woman. So
there you go.
She's a mathematician. She's an astronaut. She's a scholar. She's a writer. Yeah.
Yeah. My friend Jeff Porter and another friend, Daniel Chai, used to do the Fear of Science podcast. I'm not sure if they're still doing it. I can't seem to find it on Spotify right now. But, yeah, they were great. They had me and He Who Shall Not Be Named on at one point. Yeah, yeah. But Jeff and Daniel are good eggs. Very good eggs. Here's our second voicemail.
Hi, my name's Amarina. I'm from Victoria, BC. I've been listening to the Dark Poutine podcast on and off for a while, and your guys' latest episode, I just have to say I 100% agree. As you were going through it, I was thinking, yeah, like if I went and visited another country, if I didn't agree with their cultural morals, I would still adhere by them when I went to that country. And similarly, I would never move to a country whose cultural morals or values I didn't agree with. And I think the same should be held for Canada. Like, I am totally left, but we can't just let anybody in who goes against what our values are. That's nonsensical and stupid. And I'm just so glad you guys pointed it out, because you kind of got there in your conversation about this week's episode, and then you finally said it, and I was like, yeah. So, yeah, this is the first time I've called in anywhere. You don't have to play this live, but happy to lend my opinion to something. Thanks, bye.
Well, Marina, we played it live. Yeah, and I think that sort of hit a chord with people, and I think people understand. The callers that are coming in so often, like, and we covered this last week, but we'll talk it again. To like have that belief in terms of protecting society isn't racist at all, right? Because a lot of people jump on it, and if you think about it, right, like the guy was Muslim. I have many Muslim friends that obviously are not like this. This guy, it was like. Bastardized his own culture, right? Was like, I bet you the people within his group of peers were like, "Oh my God, you idiot!"
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
and he used that. But thanks for calling in from the island, Amarina.
Yes, thank you very much. What do you think she does over there on the island, Matthew?
I think she runs a bulldog rescue.
Oh, good. There needs to be more bulldog rescues. You've rescued a bulldog in your time, I know. Our little friend Steve.
And Steve, yeah, he's at my feet right now. He's still wobbly on his legs and falling over occasionally because we had a procedure done 2 days ago where he had to be really heavily drugged, and it's still working out of his system. Poor little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Is today your birthday?
No, my birthday is coming up. This will air 2 weeks after my birthday.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, is this airing on Monday? I guess happy birthday.
No.
We should have planned that better.
No, it's the Trump episode on Monday. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so I'll get the most hate on my birthday. I plan that. All right.
Well, we'll get some people hating on this. Sort of
I don't care. I honestly don't.
Thing. Yeah,
I don't care anymore.
Fuck it. No.
All right. Yeah, if people don't like it, they can just not listen.
Say what we're going to say. There are enough people that'll follow.
All right. Here is another voicemail, our third one.
Hi, Mike and Matthew. This is Sarah from Red Deer, Alberta. Second-time caller, very long-time listener. I just want to say I really appreciate your podcast. In fact, it's one of my favorite true crime podcasts. And I hope you guys never stop making shows because we would definitely miss you. It's just great listening, and I love how the fact that you guys focus more on the victims and the perpetrators. We have a lot of empathy and respect for the victims and their families. I think this is the way all true crime podcasts should be. So I just want to say again, thank you so much for everything. Like I said, I hope you guys never stop because I'll be listening till you guys to the very end. Thanks again, and take a dookie in your tookie. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. You know that line from Shakespeare, the famous line?
No, right? I do not.
Take a dooketh in your tooketh.
In your tooketh? Oh, boy.
Thank you for calling, Sarah.
Thank you so much. And what do you think Sarah does there in Alberta?
Did she say red deer? I didn't.
I couldn't quite make it out.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I think Sarah's just a lady who lunches.
She's a lunch lady?
No, a lady who lunches.
Oh, she just goes for lunch.
Yeah.
She just goes and hangs out with really cool people for lunch and has great conversations.
Sarah's chill. She has it all under control. She hangs. She hangs and just is just a generally nice person that people like to hang with.
Well, there you go. Well, thank you.
I want Sarah's life.
Awesome. Thank you, voicemail leavers.
That's it for this week's voicemails. Again, you can leave us one at 1-877-327-5786 or 1-877-DARK-PTN. We'd love to hear from you, even if it is just to say hi and to tell us to go shit in our hats. If you're stumped for what to chat with us about, a quick story is welcome.
And we don't have any PayPal or Donut Money donors this week, but we know you love us anyway.
Thanks to all our patrons and Donut Money donors past and present for your generosity. It helps to keep the show going. You can become a patron of Dark Poutine at patreon.com/darkpoutine. For a one-time donation, you can send us donut money via PayPal using our email address, darkpoutinepodcast@gmail.com. If you don't already subscribe to the show, it would mean a lot if you did. You can easily find Dark Poutine on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. If you haven't gotten yours yet, my book, Murder, Madness, and Mayhem, is available to order via a link on the Dark Poutine website. And speaking of darkpoutine.com, please check it out for show notes and other cool stuff. We'd appreciate it if you took the time to give Dark Poutine a like or a follow on Facebook and Instagram. Most importantly, thank you for listening, and tell your friends about us. Word of mouth is a powerful thing.
And that's it for this episode of Dark Poutine. So until next time, don't forget to be a good egg and not a bad apple.
Because there are enough of those already.
Alrighty.
On a night cold enough to freeze your bones, a prospector searching for a legendary cursed gold mine vanishes without a trace. I'm Crew Williams, the host of Dead Man's Curse. This season, we retrace the steps of fortune seekers looking for a mother lode worth billions who never came back. So come join our quest. Search for and follow Dead Man's Curse Volcanic Gold on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts.